Although I am really excited because we had that really good show last week of really good topics, and now we have really good topics this week. Hopefully the stream doesn't lag out. That would be great.
What are the topic order?
Topic order. So first I want to talk about updates, whatever numbers it is, 1.0.6.
Yeah.
And then the faction rally, I want to get that out of the way. It'll just be quick, but there's some things to be said about it. And then the Curse of Osiris, the Order of the Reveal streams, and we're live, awesome. And all that stuff, just the Curse of, because I don't. They always drop this stuff at like the worst times. Like we'll get done recording an episode, I'll get it finalized and uploaded and stuff, and then they'll be like, "Oh, here's the biggest information we've had for Destiny 2 yet. Thanks, Bungie."
Dang it!
Couldn't have done that 2 hours sooner. That's fantastic. We wait till after Thursday for a very specific reason, and Bungie completely circumvents that reason. So
they're like, we have a Thursday update, and guess what? We have now a Saturday and a Sunday update.
Yeah, right.
It's random. We don't even know.
We don't care. And just so I don't think I've talked to you about this, but I guess it's a good time to insert it in here too. I haven't been putting the last couple of episodes on iTunes because the system I use, Podience or whatever it's called, I forget. They went from a completely free platform to now $15 a month, and Scarab doesn't make that type of money, so.
You didn't put it. Wow, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, so it was completely free, and then the guy's like, it takes a lot of money to manage a database, which doesn't necessarily make too much sense to me. So, yeah, there's that. They just want to make money. So I'm searching for another one, but I'm pretty sure I'm just going to keep it here on YouTube. We did really well on iTunes, but it's just, man, it's so much work. And now I would have to, like, because you host it on, like, a website that's not iTunes, I would have to start completely over and move everything over. And all of our stats would start over, and it's really not worth it.
At least you have them edited though, so you wouldn't have to re-edit them.
Yeah, that's true. It's annoying, man. People always looking to make a buck. It's very, 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 very aggravating. I just want to create entertaining content, But yeah, that's pretty much that. We can go and start if you're ready. We have people in chat ready to go.
Let's go.
All right. Hey guys, Scarab9 here. Welcome back to the Last Word Podcast, episode 40 freaking 1. That's a big number, Jay-Z. That's a big number. We have spent much too much of our lives doing this, and we will continue to spend more of it, because that's what we do.
It was your idea.
It was. Dang it. Oh, man.
This is on you.
Yeah, I know. I'm always like, I'm too busy, and then I'm like, but we could do some other things. Oh, goodness. Yeah, so, last word, 41, Jay-Z sort of introduced himself, so we'll just skip right to the good stuff. Weekly update. The first big thing is that we got confirmation that Season 2 will begin on the same day that the Curse of Osiris comes out on December 5th. That was in the This Week at Bungie, the very last line, I think they said that. Which is interesting, because Victoria reminded me yesterday that winter doesn't even start till, like, the week before Christmas. So they don't exactly go with the real seasons, which is kind of strange, but still kind of weird.
Close enough.
Yeah, so
it's already cold here, so
yeah, right. I'm pretty sure it's like snowing outside my window right now. Would you have rather they staggered it a little bit so we got a little bit of new content and then a little bit more new content, or are you glad that they're coming out at the same time?
I think what they're attempting to do is bring all the player base that is left in the past month back. So I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
Well, I mean, any new content is going to be great. I don't know if there's going to be as big of a drought. Hopefully not. Knock on wood. As there was, as there is currently right now, until something we're going to talk about in a little bit. But there's been a drought for the past couple of weeks, especially with this is the first week of trials coming back. It was gone for a while. So
yeah, I think that pretty much hurt it more than a lack of content. Taking away content that people expect, I think, probably hurt it quite a bit. But it's all right. A lot of
PvP players have jumped ship and started playing other games, so
yeah,
and a portion of those will not come back. until the DLC. So.
And you know, now with the announcement of things like private matches, a couple new Crucible changes that we're gonna get into here in a second, that kind of stuff. I think they're gonna do a good job pulling it back. Plus, I'm sure we'll probably get some new type of game mode with Curse of Osiris. That makes sense to me. At least they're not going to do a completely PvE oriented DLC. There's got to be something for PvP in there as well, I would imagine, at least. So we'll see.
Yeah, a couple new maps.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. We did get confirmation of at least, I think, 2 new maps and 1 PlayStation exclusive map, if I'm not mistaken. But that, you know, it's always really cool. We got the 1 map that we're getting is within the archaeology section of Titan, which is awesome. That's my favorite area of the game in terms of something that is really underutilized. Would definitely be the archaeology or like the apartment, super futuristic mall thing on Titan. I want more of that, so I like that we're getting that.
I don't understand why they don't ever have a public event there or anything like that. Like,
it's
right there.
It's like there's so much realistic. There's like honestly more map design that went into that versus the like the methane and stuff, like the outside rigs, and they use it for like a couple of adventures, a couple of strikes, no, 1 strike, a story mission, and that's it. It's super underutilized. It's not like Bungie to make all this stuff and not use it, you know, like.
Yeah, and then they hide a cage chest there, and what was the other thing? Oh, and like a mission is there to go collect this or kill, like one of the Titan missions is like kill 40 people in the enemies in the archaeology section.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I feel like they're going to do more with that eventually. I hope they do, because I like that personally a lot cooler than the or I like that a lot more. It is a lot cooler to me rather than the rest of Titan, which is still pretty good, but I like the idea of a super civilized, crazy, something that we've never really seen in Destiny. You know, we've seen like broken down civilizations, we've seen beaten up stuff. You know, like for all intents and purposes, like the beaten up oil drills or methane drills is kind of the same as a rundown cosmodrome, just over water. It's like the same principle, but we haven't had anything. I guess the closest would be like the Venus area with the whatever it's called, the Ishtar. That Ishtar stuff would be closest.
If you remember when we were playing through the single player or the story missions, I said it looked like it reminded me a lot of BioShock, actually, and that's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite single player games ever. I love that game, so it kind of brought back a little bit of nostalgia for that game. Just going through that underwater section.
That'd be so cool if while we were playing it, there's like a song from like the 60s playing as well. That would be so cool.
Yeah.
I'd be very excited to see that, but you know, they probably won't. But it would just be really cool. Just real quick, Killtastic said, I thought it was only 2 maps with the PlayStation exclusive. I thought that's what I said. I might have misspoke, but I'm 90% sure that's what I just said a couple minutes ago. I think the archaeology is the PlayStation exclusive map. I didn't think that was the case. Do you remember what the name of the PlayStation exclusive map was? They said it.
I don't. I remember seeing a glimpse of it. It looked pretty cool, but I don't remember.
Was it on Mercury?
I believe. No, that might be the map for everybody. And I can look it up.
Okay, so maybe it is the PlayStation exclusive map. Either way, it means we'll get it eventually. So I'll get to recognize my dream of exploring the archaeology eventually, which is good enough for me. But yeah, so that's pretty much that. And then just to wrap up the weekly update, we also got patch 1.0.6 yesterday, I believe. And that mainly focused on Crucible. You know, they fixed some things like the bureaucratic walk. I can't even talk right now. That emote, you can't walk through walls anymore, which is very nice. And then they just did a couple of things. So from Clash, they reduced the score to 50. Control, they reduced it to 90. Survival, they reduced the time limit down to 2 minutes and count, like you only get 6 lives instead of 8. And then Supremacy, they increased the score up to 70, but now you get a guaranteed point whenever you kill an enemy. So they just all around balancing. The live team doing its work, man.
Definitely good, because there's so many times where you could have got a win if you got those points for the kills, and because sometimes it's hard to get those crests. So
yeah, and I think that was my biggest complaint with. I think I've said that before with Crucible, is that it was, I felt like in more games you ran out of time rather than hitting the score, which is probably not the balance you want to strike in your game. But they're fixing it. It's still a thing that they're working towards, and I think all of these are really good moves in the right direction. So I'm excited to see how they work out. I'll jump in and play some Crucible for a bit later, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, whatever. But yeah, other than that, that's pretty much the weekly update. It's good to see that they're doing really frequent. Like, you got to think about it. In Destiny 1, we only would have gotten an update like this, like, with a DLC, right? There wasn't really any balancing updates on a regular basis, and this is just 2 months after the game came out. They probably were waiting for PC to come out to see how everything was balanced and whatnot. Very timely update, in my opinion, though, so I'm excited to see more of that in the future.
Yeah, so they seem to release one every 4 to 6 months, an update. They would kind of go with seasons.
Yeah.
But to answer your question from before, the Pacific Arcology map is a PlayStation 4 exclusive.
Well, screw PlayStation 4
yeah,
exclusive.
I know, right? I know.
Bungie, why you do this? No, it's all right. We'll get to play it eventually. I'll go. Yeah. I don't know. I'll watch a YouTuber play it and then just imagine it's me, and it'll be great. Best time of my life.
Queen, anybody?
Take a Queen. It'll happen. Oh, we're gonna have an episode about that. Don't you worry.
All right.
Don't you worry.
I'm all about that life.
All right. So that's pretty much the weekly update. So the first thing I really wanted to talk about is that the faction rallies are back next week, not this week. They start on Tuesday. And yeah, they made a couple changes that we're going to talk about to the token system that made it so you can now, instead of farming 600 tokens an hour, get like 100 if you're really good. Probably not even that many. That's kind of disappointing. We'll get into that. So the 3 rewards for the faction rallies are for New Monarchy. You can get a sword with On Guard, which is the one that makes you do more damage, I believe. Then you have a flashbang grenade launcher from Dead Orbit, which is going to suck, so Dead Orbit better not win this time. And then a fusion rifle from Future War Cult, which is probably the one I'm going to push the hardest. Maybe New Monarchy, just because I need some of those shaders and the armor sets, but we'll see. But one really disappointing thing for me personally, and we'll talk about how Jay-Z feels about this in a second, is that the rewards from last time, the Haunted Earth, the Pulse Rifle for Future War Cult, and the Sidearm for New Monarchy actually got put into the regular drop pools for this one. So they're just regular weapons that you earn whenever you level up. And I just find that kind of disappointing because I was really hoping they were going to be like limited time, exclusive weapons that if you had them, it was like a trophy because you were there, you played the game during this time. And unfortunately, it's like you just get the weapon like a month early if you win. And that's kind of, none of the weapons are good enough to justify that being exciting. So I'm not really all right with that, to be honest. Jay-Z, what do you think?
So, like, the other 2 weapons, nobody had a chance of getting at all, period. So I think it's good that everybody gets a chance to play with the weapons because they obviously designed them to be played with.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be silly to be like, oh, only Dead Orbit 1, so the Pulse Rifle and the beautiful little sidearm are not available for anybody else.
They're gone forever.
Yeah, that was super sarcasm on the sidearm, by the way. Don't get it twisted that I actually like that thing. But I really wanted that Pulse Rifle, and now I'm gonna get a chance to play with it. And
I just wish they would have been exclusive to rewards. Like maybe they. It
so
stays,
they kept the same.
It stays in the season 1, but if Future War Cult never won in season 1, then it's gone. I don't know. I don't like that just for the fact that Future War Cult's not going to win because for some reason everybody picks Dead Orbit regardless of what the rewards are. Like they had like the worst looking armor, they had the worst weapons, and they're like, everybody go to Dead Orbit. The shaders weren't that good. Yeah, they were the last faction that you visit.
Yeah.
They Bungie tried their hardest to make sure Dead Orbit didn't win. Yeah.
They're like,
and Dead Orbit still won.
Okay, well, here's some shaders with camo on it.
Oh,
all right.
Goodness.
So, it baffled me that Dead Orbit did so well when it had like the worst possible. Like New Monarchy had by far the best armor. Future War Call had by far the best weapons, and they're like, oh, let's everybody sign up for Dead Orbit. Let's go.
It's really strange. Dead Orbit's very polarizing though, so I don't like. I'm not surprised that it happens. It's weird, you know, but I'm not like I like Dead Orbit too. I'm definitely a Jalal fanboy, you know, but it is what it is. It's not a huge thing. Yeah, Killtastic, once again, he said, I wish that they were exclusive to that faction rally. Me too. I always break it up into seasons, but, you know, it's whatever. It's not a huge deal in the end. It just kind of, you know, like, it gives you... It's weird, because now it literally does not matter who wins. So, they need some... Maybe if, like, Dead Orbit wins, everyone who pledged to Dead Orbit gets, like, a something. An exclusive emblem for that faction rally or something, because now it just doesn't matter. You're pledging for literally no reason, and it's kind of strange.
I think they just wanted to give the illusion that you know, like of a war type thing, because they don't, like I said earlier, they don't want to lock people out of guns. They don't want to have content that they spent time on making and people don't get to play with it. So
okay, maybe an aura. If you pick a winning faction,
I'd be okay with that, since that's
aura.
what they're doing. It's auras with everything.
Which is cool. But I think that we need some permanent auras. You know, like I like the prestigious raid one. It looks really cool. The Nightfall one, you know, it's the Nightfall one. But maybe if you did play Destiny 1, you get an exclusive Destiny symbol one behind your head or something. Just like really minor, like permanent auras, I think would be really cool. Because instead of emblems where you only see them when you're in orbit, it's something you see all the time.
I was just gonna make, you don't like your green and white emblems from Destiny 1?
Yeah, that I never used, right?
Yeah. They got taken off after the first week.
That made me really mad when the challenge emblem turned out just to be a blue. Like, oh, come on, really? But
like seriously, guys, like, you know, if you play Destiny 1 that much, give us at least one legendary emblem.
Yeah, right? Cool. Is there an exotic emblem in Destiny 2 yet?
I don't know. I don't think so.
One sec. Let me check the prestige mode one real quick.
I'm pretty sure that's... I don't even know. Is that even legendary? It's got to be legendary.
No, it's blue. It's a blue one.
That's terrible.
I think the legendary ones all have to count something. Like, I think they have to have, like, a weird tracking function in order to be... the legendary, but that just means exotic ones. Like if they come out with animated emblems, they have to be legendary, or excuse me, exotic.
Yeah. That'll be Eververse 101.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
If your team wins Season 1 faction rally, or you know Dead Orbit wins, we get an exclusive Dead Orbit animated emblem. That's nothing extremely fancy. It's something you keep in your vault and be like, I was here during the first month of Destiny. I pledged to the winning faction. There you go. I think that's what we need.
Well, it'd be similar to D1 when you got the class item and it did a specific
spawn animation. Yeah. The thing is, like, they did the spawn animations really weirdly, where they just don't matter that much, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just so many of them. And a lot of them aren't that cool. They're kind of overdone. That was a system that I really liked that they kind of destroyed for some... It's kind of picky on my end, I guess. But, yeah, I would much prefer, like, an aura or a cool emblem or something. Okay. That's pretty much the faction rally. I'm trying to see what's... none of the rewards really seem great. From this one, we already talked about who we're gonna pledge to. Yeah, I don't know. The faction rally, like, I'm actually much more looking forward to the next Iron Banner than faction rally. But the thing that sucks is there's only one more Iron Banner, Jay-Z. So we are gonna have to grind our butts off to get that armor. Which actually, I think they said the armor was carrying over into Season 2. Did they not? Did I hear that wrong?
I don't remember. I thought they were coming out. Well, no, because the new armor sets are...
They're ornaments.
Yeah.
So I think it carries over. I think I remember doing a video that said that.
Well, I would hope so, because it's the best looking armor in the game right now.
Yeah, especially that Hunter mask that I never got. Exquisite.
Oh, you mean the Hunter I played on barely at all, and I got it? Let's talk about it.
Don't cry. Don't cry on stream, man. Control yourself. Oh goodness, yeah. So I'm excited for Iron Banner. That should be 2 weeks from Tuesday, I would say. Yeah, 1 week for Faction Rally, Celebration Week, Iron Banner. Yeah, so probably in 2.5 weeks we'll get Iron Banner back, which I'm excited for.
So I like how they're pushing these out like every 5 to 6 weeks rather than every 4 weeks on the dot. You know, hitting with them because it makes them a little more special, I think.
Yeah,
because Iron Banner is just becoming okay, let's do some Iron Banner, you know, every 4 weeks. So it's nice that they're kind of pushing them out a little bit more, in my opinion. But
yeah. And it's nice because it means we have more content as well to fill the gap, right? Like, if we were in a super drought, they wouldn't be able to do that. But because we do have faction rallies and challenge modes and prestige modes and all that good stuff, they're able to push it off and delay it a little bit, which is it's good for the game. Yeah, but past that, we're gonna move on to like our main discussion topic, the Curse of Osiris, which is looking freaking amazing. I'm so excited because the Vex are my favorite enemies in Destiny, and they're just kind of underutilized. Like, nothing really happened with them in Destiny 1. You know, we killed their Black Heart, whatever the hell that was, and then we killed Atheon. But other than that, they're kind of like, meh, kill this Hydra, and then kill him again. And then, oops, he came back to life, kill him again, you know? So I'm excited to get some real story with the Vex. And, you know, we'll talk about all the stuff that entails in a second, but the really cool thing, or one of the cool things I think, I'm not sure if everyone feels this way, but I like the fact that we're getting both a base level and a power level increase. So base level is going from 20 to 25, power level is going from 3 to 330, presumably 335 if you get the mods as well. I like that because it makes it seem like your character's not only getting stronger, like they still have, they can grow a little bit. I guess that's a weird way to put it, but in my mind, I like the base level going up as well, as long as the Leviathan and other endgame activities get scaled up too. So what do you think they're going to do that? Do you think they're going to leave the Leviathan behind like they did with Vogue? Or...
but they said okay, so I don't know if we want to wait till we talk about the raid activity, because we're not sure if it's actually an actual raid or if it's something added onto the Leviathan.
Yeah, well, which we're going to talk about in a second, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, I mean, so like if they, I don't think they will, because if they do something similar to the year one or Destiny 1 year one, both raids were viable up until Taken King, so it would make sense for them to keep it viable.
Well, they were kind of viable, but like, you know, they got capped out still. Like when Crota came out and it was 32, Vault of Glass only got you to 30 still. So they were.
But I mean, with House of Wolves, you could up the power or the light level or the power.
Oh
level.
Yeah, with Etheric Light, right? Yeah, right. Maybe they'll do something like that. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't think they'll do Etheric Light again because that was kind of a bust. But...
Yeah, well, I'm just, you know, Infusion now exists, so they don't really have to.
Exactly. But yeah, I don't see why, because they would have to basically, they would have to take them out of the database for you to not be able to level them up, and I don't think they're going to do that.
Right.
I honestly think that all the gear and the armor is going to carry all the way to year 3 this time around, because of the leveling, unless they change the system completely like they did with Taken King.
I don't see them doing that though, because the system really works well, you know,
yeah,
and that it promotes a lot more like diversity in your armor set.
So I don't see them, because they can just change the roles of the weapons anytime they want if something's too overpowered. So like, you're gonna, by year 3, you're gonna have like 50 hand cannons, you know, and you can choose between which ones that work best for you. And I kind of like that. I mean, it's kind of like random rolls at that point in time, because you have, you know, so many different things. but I mean, that's my thoughts. I think they're probably gonna do something like that, hopefully. So.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that'd be cool. I think you're right, because if you think about it, everything from Taken King went on to Rise of Iron and all that. So I think you're right. Yeah, I just, with that, I'm excited. I hope everything carries over. I hope everything remains. I guess with the infusion system, you're right. They don't really have to make everything viable, as long as it doesn't become insanely easy, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, it's not bad. I like it. let's see. What's next? So we got confirmation of the new strikes, the story mode revolving around Osiris, who goes through the Vault of Glass, which is really cool. We'll get more information about that whenever the cinematic comes out, which should be pretty soon, I would imagine. He freezes time in the Vault of Glass and he goes through there, which is pretty cool. So I think the really big thing that I'm itching to talk about is this new raid activity. Now, I think, Jay-Z, I don't know if this is your theory, Jay-Z. You've mentioned it a couple of times to me, and I think you just said it a couple minutes ago. But the idea of adding on to the Leviathan, I don't think that's the case at all. I think it's going to be more something outside the box. Like, so technically, if I used to call the Prison of Elders a miniature raid, like when people were like, oh, House of Wolves didn't have a raid, I was like, for all intents and purposes, Prison of Elders was the raid, right?
With no checkpoints, yes.
Yeah, exactly. But I think they're going to do something outside the box like that. Maybe, obviously I don't think the Prison of Elders is coming back. But I think they're going to do something maybe like an extended strike, like a 3-man raid kind of thing. Or maybe like a 3 or a 4-man horde mode would be really awesome. I want a horde mode in Destiny so badly. Like a Call of Duty Zombies put into Destiny, where you start off with no weapons or whatever. You got a melee thralls. They drop white weapons, and you pick them up, and then you progress your way. I think that would be so freaking cool. I want something like that so badly. I just don't think it would come with a miniature DLC like this. So I don't think we're going to be getting a full raid. That's because they would have said new raid. And whenever they were asked a full new raid, they just repeated raid activity. I just think it's going to be something a little bit more experimental and outside the box, which is I'm cool with that. Even if it kind of falls on its face, you have to appreciate even Prison of Elders for what it was. It was something unique, inventive. They could have changed so many things. They could have added checkpoints. They could have made it 6 players instead of 3 and just upped the difficulty. Well, I actually kind of like the 3-player aspect, but I'm just saying, different things they could have done. It definitely had its faults, but you gotta, if we keep doing just these 6-man raids over and over and over and over again, they might start to get a little bit dry. So I respect them branching out a little bit more. Yeah, that's enough about me. What do you think, man?
I don't think I'll be happy unless there's an actual raid. And raid activity equals a 3-player, something similar to the scope. Not even the scope of the underbelly, but just the encounter system of, the Leviathan raid. I want a raid, and Crota was more like an extended strike. So, and that's kind of the same time period that we're on. But I don't want them to keep doing what they did in Destiny 1. With everything, because I want things to be better, obviously. So I don't want a Prison of Elders type of activity. Prison of Elders was fun the first couple times.
Yeah.
and then it just got super tedious. Raids, I don't know. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a tough sell unless it's a full blown
I'm interested to see how they advertise it, because I don't know if you remember this back when they were advertising House of Wolves didn't have a raid, and they brought Cathalion on stream. He was burning Bungie in their studio, being like, oh, you mean the new DLC with no raid? He was he was just messing them up. And that's kind of reflects the very average players, maybe not average, the top 20%, 40% of players. That's kind of their attitude when they hear, oh, there's no raid. They won't be very open-minded to what they can do. And I think that's the reason they're still including the word raid in the activity. It's a new raid-like activity. I just think it'll be something non-conventional. Because if you think about it, if you go to other games with raids, Borderlands raids were 4 people, and they were just bosses. They were just raid bosses. Then you have things like World of Warcraft, where they're, from my understanding, 20 people.
Yeah. But Borderlands is a little bit different, as in the boss had a chance to drop specific gear that this. But
but I mean, technically, Callus has a chance to drop specific gear, right? The helmet.
Yeah, but
I get that there's a difference, but it's coming from a difference of franchise. But in terms of just the encounter, they're similar enough. It's a boss with crazy mechanics that's really tough that only the top % of players can do. And you know, it's of course, like I said, Bungie raids traditionally have multiple encounters where Borderlands raids just have one. If you know, there were a couple where you had to like go around the map and summon the raid boss and do all that, so it was like technically a couple of encounters, but you know, for the most part, Borderlands was just one. World of Warcrafts are raids that take like an entire day to do, with 20 people or whatever. It's they can't. I just think that they're not labeling it a traditional raid, because if they do that, people will go in expecting a full 6-man 4-encounter raid. You know, the pretty much the recipe that we've all come to expect. So I think that they're labeling it a little bit different because it is just something a little bit different. I think the system will be generally the same. There will be some big bad that we have to beat. We have to go through some type of trial to get there. And there will be exclusive rewards. And I think they're being careful with semantics. But like I said, I of course can't prove any of this. For all I know, they could just bring back the Vault of Glass and be calling it the new raid activity because they changed it a little bit.
I hope they don't do that.
No, there's no way they would do that. I'm just saying we don't know what they're gonna do.
So like, this is their chance to have another Vex raid. Like, this was the first Cabal raid. It was a success. The loot system was not a success, but you know, we've talked about that many times before. The Vex, like, people have so much nostalgia for Vault of Glass. Like, it was a very well made raid. It was the first raid that they did, and I too enjoyed the Vex more than any other faction myself, just because, you know, they're fun to fight. They have a little bit different mechanics, stuff like that. So like, it's really, unless they're gonna have a Vex raid before the end of Destiny 2, this is their chance to do it right here.
Yeah, exactly. I want a Vex raid so badly. And like,
that's why I'll be bummed because especially if they don't create a Vex raid before the end of the game.
Yeah, which I'm sure they will. Like, you got to think, like, if this is the equivalent of the Prison of Elders, right? Which it just for metaphor's sake, you know, Prison of Elders was the fallen raid of year 1, but then they came back and they did Rise of Iron, and it was like, you know, with the Wrath of the Machine, and it was a crazy, insane raid that everyone generally likes. I think they'll do something similar with the Vex. I'm hoping this is a mind-blowing experience, but I just think, like, we've beaten so many things in Fire Teams of 3, right, with just numerous gods and entities and all this stuff. Bro, what happens when we have a smaller fire team? If they could even tie it back into, you know, the original Vault of Glass team was just Pahan and Kabir and Praedyth. There was just 3 Guardians. So what if they did something cool, like a miniature version of the Vault of Glass? Not, you know, I don't want to say that, but like a Vex Conflux point, and to represent or kind of mirror the 3 original, 3 of us go in. But, and to kind of contradict it, we actually emerged successful this time. I think that would be, it's a really powerful story mechanic, and you got to think, no matter how many Guardians are in an activity, it just comes down to how awesome the activity is. You know, if there's solo activities that are amazing, there's 4-man activities, Trials of Osiris, that are really well done. They need to find the balance for how many players. Like, we don't officially know it's only going to be 3 or 4, that it's officially not going to be 6. But if it isn't 6, they just need to find the right difficulty and rewarding balance for it not to be 6. Would be cool.
I agree. I'm personally super excited for the Osiris story. Like, hopefully they flesh that out, because his backstory is so good.
It's a freaking bird person. That's awesome.
I know, but like, just his backstory, how he went to, you know, Mercury to do what he did. Like, I'm excited for them to flesh that out. And
JC, it's a Rick and Morty reference. I just realized you didn't get it. So.
Oh, I'm gonna eventually watch it.
But Bird Person's a Rick and Morty character, man. It's good. So just to kind of go back on the Vault of Glass thing, there's no way they'll do it, right? It's the same way that's not the Thorn, which I provided proof in chat the other day. It just doesn't make sense. But with the Vault of Glass thing, if they did not do the Age of Triumph, it would have been genius to recycle the Vault of Glass. Change some
Yeah.
things a little bit, keep the nostalgia factor. But since they did do the Age of Triumph, I would put money that they never even once crossed the minds of the people at Bungie to bring back the Vault of Glass, because it does not make any sense at all.
It'd be stupid too.
Yeah, exactly. It would. Yeah, I think people would rather Prison of Elders come back than the Vault of Glass for a second time.
I mean, I love Vault of Glass. Don't get me wrong, and I've done it close to 200 times. But I've done it close to 200 times. Like,
give me something new.
Yeah, I don't need an updated version of Vault of Glass. I played it like crazy when it first came out. I played it like crazy when it was Age of Triumph, and I've had my fill of it. Like, will I eventually want to go back to D1 if the servers are still up and play it one more time 2 years from now? Probably.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we want to do like some nostalgic raids. But
I just don't know how that would work, man. I'm so used to 2 primaries now. I would be so jacked.
Just to see like where they've come, you know, like
yeah, fair.
That type of thing. I think it'll be kind of cool. But like I no, give us something. I'll take the architect, because that's Vex architecture. So like you could do something similar, but
yeah. I actually have a pretty good topic in chat. Might be a little bit controversial. I don't know. Gary Rendano says, I bet you $1 million that the majority of the next DLC is at least 75% reskin. And that's probably the case, but you got to think, like, that makes sense. Like, it doesn't make any sense that it wouldn't be like that at all. Because if you're counting weapons and armors, armor is going to be a lot different. Keep in mind, this is a minor DLC, so this isn't something on the scope of taking King or Rise of Iron. This is a Crota's End size DLC. Absolutely. Like, why, foundries are still foundries. In real life, so let's say from World War I to World War II, a lot of the same weapons were still in use. Like, that just makes sense. Whenever you start a new era, you don't throw out everything from the past. Watches, they're now digital, but they look the same as analog watches that you would wear on your wrist, because if a function works and a design works, why change it at all? That makes sense in the world, in the lore. It makes sense from a developing standpoint. If I would rather them spend more time making less weapon models to putting more time in endgame activities, absolutely, making beautiful environments, good stories flow. You also have to think, like, the enemies are enemies that we've already seen. Doesn't technically count as a reskin, but I think people who are salty on forums will count that as a reskin. Like, I don't see why people care so much about reskinning. You're paying $15, $20 for a DLC. Do you know how long it takes to do stuff? I don't think people realize, like, you don't sit there and draw something once and do it. Like, that takes man hours, right?
Plus that, and there's only, like, without them being like a super like raid looking weapon that looks completely different, there's only so many ways you can make a hand cannon, or only so many ways you can make a pulse rifle look. Like, there's not many designs that are that drastically different, other than like super like themed type weapons that they normally do with specific end game activities. So like, it's tough to do that, and they want them to look kind of like real life weapons, but at the same time give them their own,
I mean, that's the thing though. Like, how could you, like, if you made them not look like real life weapons, it would be completely impractical and ridiculous, right? Like, the reason weapons look like they do today is because it is extremely efficient. That's the entire idea of guns, is to kill things before they can kill you. So they need to be as efficient as possible. So, I mean, even some of these things like Gallarhorn is a completely ridiculous concept for a gun in terms of looks. I mean, it's awesome. I'm not going to bash on Gallarhorn, space magic and stuff. But I feel like people get so mad about reskins for no reason. It's meh. And here's another good topic. SDNG says, we're all going to finish the new DLC in less than a month. And, that just, it blows my mind, man. People are like, oh, I'm done with Destiny already. Destiny 2. Are you, though? Do you, all 3 characters 305, that's easy enough. Does that count as complete? Do you have full armor sets? Do you have the entire prestigious raid armor set? There's so much stuff, do you have the regular? Do you have all the ornaments? Do you have all the all the anything emblems? Have you done all the faction rally stuff? Do you have full Iron Banner sets? Like, you can't say you're gonna complete a DLC in less than a month. It just doesn't make sense. Everyone has a different term for completionness. Maybe you'll burn yourself out in less than a month. You'll reach maximum level. But in a game like Destiny where it's based on collecting things, that's not completing the DLC, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with you, because it's subjective to the individual person of what they want to get out of the experience. I want to get everything that's in the game, so therefore I'm going to put more time and effort into it than the average person that just wants to get we'll say trials weapon set, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put way more hours getting the trials weapon set, getting the raid weapon set, getting the raid armor, getting the raid prestigious armor, you know, that whole thing, and then plus, you know, getting mods for everything. And you know, I don't care as much about the ornaments, but you know, obviously I eventually want to get them all. That type of thing. So it's all subjective to what you want to put into the game.
It's just the idea, like, this is going around on the forums too. It's too easy to get to 305. It's, you know, I got to 305 in 2 days. I beat the game in 2 days. In a game like Destiny, the game itself is not getting to maximum level. In fact, it's quite the opposite of that. It's what comes after maximum level. That is the drive in looter shooters. Borderlands is a perfect example of that. Diablo, from what I understand, perfect example of that. Destiny is a perfect example of that. The real part of Destiny isn't doing the campaign. While it is a very, very fun aspect of Destiny, and I love the story and I love the lore, the important parts are what comes after. Because that's the time you spend most of your time in the Destiny world is after you hit maximum level. That's where the focus needs to be. So you can't say you're done with the game just when you hit the maximum level, because that's like I don't even know. That's like graduating college and then saying that you've beaten life without doing anything with your degree. You know, it's getting to 305 and then stopping without doing anything with your new light. That's a really good metaphor.
Wow.
Boom.
I'm proud of you.
That was really good.
That was pretty good. And the other thing is a lot of these people that complain about, say in Destiny 1, they complain, well, he only beat me because he had a god roll IS Luna. But that now, you know, that we have static rolls, because people were complaining about it, now they're complaining, you know, there's nothing to do because I got all the weapons. Well, like, you can't have it both ways. Like, that's the problem. It's like,
yeah,
you know, everybody's going to complain one way or another, and it's tough for a developer. I would hate to be a developer trying to figure out a balance between pleasing, you know, that pleases the most people, you know, because that's what they're trying to do. They're not doing it for themselves, you know. Obviously they love playing the game too, but they're doing it to try to make sure everybody has the weapons to fight in Crucible, but also, you know, that everybody's having an experience of getting drops, you know, rather than, you know, oh, he has a Gallahorn but I don't have one. You know, that type of thing.
Yeah, so. and I like the balance that they did. You know, it's difficult to get the Legend of Acreus. If you don't do the raid, you're never gonna get it. The static rolls things, you know, we talk about this every single freaking week. It's, you know, it's a bummer, but with how much time I have in my life right now, I don't necessarily not mind it. You know, like it's not a huge thing as big as I thought it was gonna be. I guess it all comes down to I always just get. Like, I'm always using the same weapons. In Destiny 1, 90% of my loadout was Trials, Iron Banner, or Raid weapons, which all have static perks anyways. Or if you the Iron Banner, if you got the God Roll Vendor version, excuse me. But Trials weapons and Raid weapons, where the majority of my loadout, all have static perks. And I guess I didn't think about that whenever we were talking about this, because I just like... it's 90% of my loadout is raid weapons, and then, you know, I have like the Uriels as well that I use a lot too, but it doesn't affect me as much as I thought it was going to. I don't really mind it as much as I thought I was going to. There's a way bigger diversity in guns in Destiny 2 than compared to early Destiny 1 for all I'm concerned about. You know, if you got like a better Devils and a Devil, you know, in vanilla, they were the same gun. So if you got the same roll, it was the same thing. It was pointless. You know, meh. You know, I don't mind that much. I guess I know you do, Jason. I'm not trying to undermine that, but it just it's not as bad. I don't think it's as bad for you as you thought it was going to be either, right?
No, it's not. And like I wasn't one of the people complaining that, oh, he had a better version of the gun that I want.
Yeah.
You know, that's why he beat me. You know, like I enjoyed that whole aspect of, hey, I can have the best version of this weapon possible, and you know it might be better than somebody else's, and that was special to me, and that's more what it was than more the collector in me than it was anything else. Like, but that's I like grindy games, so of course I'm gonna enjoy that aspect.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's pretty much the main discussion for the Curse of Osiris. There's going to be all sorts of awesome stuff. And I would just like to point out that they did say strikes, so there's going to be more than one strike with Curse coming out. Very excited for that. Level increases. What am I missing? New armor sets.
They're almost giving you 50% the amount of strikes that we currently have. That's
which I don't care how many strikes we get. I actually hope we don't get a lot of strikes if there's no reason to do them. For the love of a mother chicken, Bungie, strike specific armor now.
Well, you know the live team is gonna.
Yeah, I know they're gonna do it. Can they get it done fast enough? Is the question.
Yeah, like they've got to do something with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't care about strikes if we can't get good strike gear, right? So I want strikes to be viable. I want them to work on that. Let's see. Yeah, so pretty much, I'm trying to think. Awesome armor sets. What do you think about all those? Just real quick, I think the Statue of Liberty armor set is brilliant. It's not really the Statue of Liberty, but it's like a Vex head with spikes, and it's got the Osiris eye on it and stuff. I really like that. I'm not usually a fan of Warlock fashion, but I'm definitely going to be rocking that.
I didn't see many, but I think as a whole, they've done a lot better with sets in this game.
Yeah.
Not with... and the mods. I'm super excited for the updated modding system that's probably going to launch with that DLC as well, because obviously they're working on it. But I'm pretty sure they said they were going to update the mod system with the DLC. So
I don't know if they said update, but they're going to expand on it. Yeah. Like we'll get new mods and stuff.
That's more what I'm excited for, because you got awesome looking armor. Let me differentiate it from what.
I mean, that right there is your fixed static rolls. If they do it correctly,
yeah, but
they'll be able to fix it without breaking the game.
Yeah, but they're gonna have to add quite a few different mods if they want to make me happy with in that aspect.
Would that be hard though? Like you got to think that couldn't be too difficult in terms of a because they already have the perks and they already have the base coding for what a mod is. So I have to imagine it wouldn't be too difficult. Like you'd have to do a bunch of bug testing because it could potentially screw up everything else.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said before with ideas like specific raid or specific raid-like activity. Mods.
Yes, I want that. I don't care about static rolls. Give me mods from completing raids that I could put on my weapon to make the next time I do the raid easier.
Yes, because that was the whole thing. Like in previous Destiny. Expansions with raids, like you wanted to get the weapons and armor because they helped you in that raid. They helped you progress.
If I've already beaten the raid once without that armor, I know I can do it. Make it easier on me. Just a little bit. I'm not asking for you to hold my hand, right? More heavy so I don't have to do heavy ammo runs. Please. I've killed myself enough times, all right? Like, goodness gracious.
Well, I remember in the past, like, as a fire team, like if we couldn't beat a specific raid section, we'd go through it again with a second character to try to get up to that point, so that we could get possible weapons and stuff that would help.
We did that with King's Fall. We did that with that. I want that back. I want that back. Yeah, I like that.
Like it makes no sense for them not to do it, because like now there's nothing that makes that special other than it looks different. But the Iron Banner set looks so much better. So
see, that's the thing. I mean the regular raid, they did extremely well. In my opinion, I bash on the Leviathan a lot. It's just because it's frustrating, because it's very difficult. In reality, it's very possibly my favorite Destiny raid because it's so unique. It's very out there. I love it. The Prestige mode needs a lot of polishing. The base concepts are really nice. I really hope they fix on more on the rewarding aspects more than anything. I think would be really nice for them to fix. But other than that, like I've been really liking the raids and what they're doing. That's why I have a lot of faith. Like you can say that the Leviathan's a normal raid, but that doesn't do it justice, you know? It's the activities rotate. You have the entire underbelly. You have all this stuff. Like, it's not just, you know, calling Crota's End a raid and then calling the Leviathan a raid. That just doesn't seem right. So that's why I'm really excited for the raid activity, because I have a lot of faith in what they've learned, and I'm excited to see how they apply that.
Yeah, and like I think the only issue that I could possibly have with the Leviathan is lack of like boss type activities. Like, I enjoy the mechanics based nature of it, but like, it would have been nice instead of baths to have a mini, like a sub boss or something like that, like they have in years past.
Yeah, but you know, baths is irritating enough as it is. So,
well, I mean, instead of baths, like, take that room and make it a boss battle where,
yeah,
where you have to like run around away from them, you know, like
I don't know. Really cool, like a really slow moving boss. I mean, and you have to like do things before it reaches you. Oh wait, that's just the freaking siege engine. Never mind, that wouldn't have worked.
Well, other than Crota, that's the only raid where you don't fight multiple boss characters. Yeah. So, and it's way more fleshed out than Crota. So, but I guess it led up to a huge fight with a boss at the end, rather than, you know, you have a sub boss or the.
Yeah, Callus was a pretty epic boss fight though.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah. But other than that, for the Curse of Osiris, I'm excited for it. The 3 streams that you guys should be looking out for: on Wednesday, November 15th, Bungie will be streaming the Places You Will Go, People You Will Meet, and Enemies to Fight stream over on their Twitch. Then on Tuesday, November 21st, they do a weird day switch here. From Wednesday to Tuesday, there will be the new activity stream. And then back to Wednesday, the following Wednesday, on November 29th, they will be doing the new Gear to Earn stream. I just hope they do not spoil too much. I want... This Bungie kind of has this tendency to show off too much before the DLCs launched. They did a fantastic job with Destiny 2, not showing a lot of stuff before the game came out. Come on, Bungie, I believe in you. You know, but a smaller DLC, they can't show much. They have to get us hyped without showing us everything. And they already showed us that the Telesto, the Jade Rabbit, the Graviton Forfeit, I believe the Bones of Ao, they're all coming back. Be careful, Bungie. Don't show us too much, man. What's up?
I'm happy with the Telesto, because that was a very balanced and very fun weapon to use.
Yes, absolutely. I'm interested to see if they switch the perk any. Well, you know, we'll learn more about that on November 29th. I don't want them. I would rather them. You know, we're getting 4 returning exotics confirmed right there.
Yeah.
If they only show us all the exotics that are returning from Destiny 1, and then we get the DLC and boom, we get 5 new exotics, 10, maybe 7 new exotics, 4 returning exotics, brilliantly done. You know, don't spoil anything new. Show us something that we can connect with that would get us excited for the DLC that we have already seen before. Genius move, if that's what they're going for. Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping. Like, because I remember Crota gave us what, 3 new exotics. So
as long as I want a bunch of new exotics, and I'm cool with them bringing exotics back, but we should not, like, I want them to limit it. You know, I don't want every exotic from Destiny 1 back in Destiny 2. I want a couple, and they should draw the line.
For the most part, they're bringing back, other than now they're bringing back Bones, and they brought back the
so the Bones aren't confirmed. I just want to say that the perk was found in the database.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
could be left over.
What I like is they're bringing back exotics that weren't overly used in Destiny 1, which is smart.
Mida.
Well, I said besides Mida. I already.
Okay.
On that. Yeah, and if Bones come back, besides Bones and Mida, they're bringing back a lot of the Destiny 1 exotics and upping them or changing them a little bit to make them more viable. And I like that, because I used a handful of exotics and that was it. So give me something that from Destiny 1, if you're going to bring it back, that I never used or barely used, and make it usable, make it fun, make me want to put it on, that type of thing. So yeah.
I just want to, like, there's been this guy in chat kind of like roasting Destiny 2, but I just want to, this is how hypocritical the Bungie community should be. One post, he said, we should get every exotic from Destiny 1 back. And then his very next post, he should say, Destiny 2 is already 75% reskins. Bungie has lost all creativity. You just asked for all of this back. Like, that's what you just did. Oh my goodness. It never fails to surprise me. If you don't like Destiny 2, please don't play it because you're dragging down the experience for the rest of us. Like, honestly, guys. And if you have no idea about game development and how that works, don't make comments on it because you're just going to look like a jackass. All right? But other than that, I'm really excited for the Curse of Osiris. I'm not going to go ham on this raid activity before I know anything about what it is.
Let's get it, play it, and then we can, you know, if it's just a activity, you know, it's the initial is boo, but we don't know. We don't know how it's gonna be.
We have no idea. I mean, you know, it's gonna be good. That's what I know, Jay-Z. I know right now.
All right. I'll take your word for it.
It's gonna be the best. It will be by the time that we get the freaking Mars Anabray whatever expansion, the Warmind one. We will all think that the Curse of Osiris raid activity is our favorite raid in the game universe. Fact. That's probably not true, but we'll see, man. You know, I got high hopes. The Vex are awesome. It's pretty hard to screw up time traveling, space distorting robots. So, I mean, what's the worst that could happen, right?
I'm sure I could get a list of worst that could happen.
Okay, let's not. But you know, for as much crap as people give Bungie, like, they screwed up in year 1, and then, like, they haven't, right? There's been there's been some droughts and stuff, but everything that they've released has been fantastic content. I have not had a major complaint against Bungie, other than Crucible balance in Destiny 1, but resources going into Destiny 2, so I'm fine with that. You know, I haven't had a super major game-breaking complaint against Bungie since year 1. So, you know what? I'm just not even gonna... People are going to hate. That's how it's going to go. But if they still play the game, that's on them, right? Yeah. All right. Anything else?
No. I think we...
All right. That was episode 41. Let's see. Yeah. I don't see anything, other questions or anything to answer. Thank you guys for coming out. As always, thank you for the good comments. Everyone who left something that was actually constructive or we could do like an actual discussion on. Thank you so much for coming out. I really do appreciate that. That's what the show is built around. That's like why I love to do this. It's why Jay-Z loves to do it. It's going to be an exciting time. Faction Rally, meh, but Iron Banner is going to be back, and then we're going to get Season 2 and Curse of Osiris on December 5th. It's going to be fantastic. I cannot wait. But until then, that's pretty much it for this week. So I've been Scaro9. You can find me at Scaro9 on Twitter. And, of course, Scaro9 on YouTube. And then, Jay-Z, go ahead and do your thing.
Jay-Z Basketball 25 on Xbox and on Twitter.
Alrighty then. So, episode 41, like I said. Pretty awesome, guys. I'm excited. There's a lot of great stuff, you know, just on the horizon. I cannot wait. And, yeah, until next week, you guys have a good one.
Peace.